Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
How you doing? This is the guy from Pittsburgh, and tonight I'm going to discuss another Noory show and give you weird news. I listened to this show, and I want to tell you, it was all gloom, all doom. First, you had a financial guy who said the economy's going to collapse, the dollar's going to collapse, and there's a cute trick. We're going to have inflation over here and deflation over there. And I don't know how he pulls that off. So listen to that guy with his gloom and doom for about a half an hour. And then, of course, we have Dr. Doom himself, Ed, I have no shame dames. But Noory doesn't ever pin people down on this stuff. And Noory, instead of letting dames talk about gloom and doom, and it was mostly the kill shot, or I call it the Krillshot, because only a whale could eat the stuff that dames puts out. It was mostly about Dames' problems with his family in the Ukraine, and it's a sad situation over there. They're looking for the president to arrest him for murder, multiple murders, serial killings. They want to depose him, and he's a dictator just like that bum Putin in Moscow. And yeah, I know if the KGB or whatever they call themselves these days is here, and I got no truck with Putin. Got nothing against Ukrainian people or the Russian people as individuals. But Dames talked about his family in Ukraine, and Noory kept drawing him on about it. He went on almost the whole interview about that, and then he talks about the kill shot. Well, you know, we've heard about Dames and his bad predictions. I posted them on my discussion forum, the guy from Pittsburgh Paranormal Discussion Forum. And Dames has been wrong a lot. In 2012, he said that we would be hit by terrorist attacks using fuel air bombs. Well, they used those in World War II, Korea, Vietnam. I don't see any cities burning to the ground, do you? In America. Said at one time the New York Mets baseball stadium, the old Shea Stadium, would be hit by a terrorist attack in May or June during a ball game. Didn't happen. He said that he was going to find the remains and what happened to Amelia Earhart. That didn't happen either. Forgot to turn the damn TV off. Well, it's in the background. I don't know how it's going to look. I'll put my head in the way. Ancient Aliens on the background, and a new show's coming out, Hangar 1 on History Channel 2, Friday nights, 10 o'clock after Ancient Aliens. The History Channel screwed over Bill Birnes. Hi, Bill. Hi, Nancy. And because they got too close to the truth, and the powers that be couldn't have you be told the truth about aliens and disclosure and what the government's doing, could they? So they're going to have a new show at MUFON Investigators. And I watched the one on Bucks County and a couple of others. I ain't impressed because they did everything. They went to Mexico and they found a guy photographing stuff. They said it was all fakery. And they seemed to debunk more stuff than Philip J. Klass or Donald Menzel or the amazing Randy, who keeps screwing around every time somebody tries to claim the $1 million for being a psychic. He does all kinds of stunts to make sure his foundation doesn't have to shell out the money. But anyway, most of the interview with Noory was Dames talking about his family and his buddies in the Ukraine, and how tough it is, and how the people are getting shot when they peek their heads out the doors and killed by random sniper fire. So it's pretty bad over there. And then when pinned down by Noory, he said that there will be no I can't do that. I'm going to, hold on a minute. I'm going to turn that thing off if I can. Just a minute. There we go. Remote's over there. I made a mistake. Excuse me. Ugh. Ain't easy in here. One day I hope to get somebody to move the damn couch, so I got some room in here to work. Okay, TV's off. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. He says that it's a hellhole in the Ukraine. It's horrible for the people there, and I feel sorry for them. And when pinned down by Noory, somebody asked, Noory asked him about the 2016 election, and Ed Dames said there's not going to be one. The government's going to declare martial law, which means Obama will declare martial law. Well, as you know, I don't hold much truck with Obama. I think he's the biggest con man to come down the pike in American politics and in presidential history. But we heard the martial law canard with George W. Bush. Oh, yeah, he also says, speaking of Bush, and this is very puzzling because he said that there'll be no election. And I think Dames said it, and if it wasn't Dames, it was another Noory guest saying that they'll bring in Jeb Bush and they'll rig the election against Hillary, and it will be Jeb Bush as president. I think that may have been another show, but that's what's scurrying around on another Noory show. The problem is when you hear enough Noory shows, it all blends into one giant Noory show. Because I listened to these twice. The first time I listened to them for listening purposes. The second time I listened to them to take notes. So I lose track of who's on first on Noory shows. But anyway, Dames says all this ammunition the government's buying, from the Postal Service to the Education Department, and Noory asks what the hell the Education Department needs with millions of bullets, and I ask the same question. I think that they're worried that the people out there that have weapons are going to get so fed up that they're going to try to overthrow the federal government. Or they'll be rioting in the streets when all the stores are closed and all the stores are out of food. Now, there's a bid right now that someone's going to buy Safeway. And, oh yeah, the financial guest, that's who said it. And he says that the whole West Coast is dominated for 200 miles by Safeway and Walmart. Gee, you know, there's Lucky, there's Nob Hill, there's Food Max, there's Foods Co., there's subsidiaries of Safeway, but, you know, I got a Walmart 3 miles that way, Safeway's 3 miles that way, Lucky's on the other side of Walmart. I can go into Concord, go to Food Max. But I will say, if you want to go get groceries, those are about your choices unless you go to Target, and Target's food, unless they're having a sale on a TV dinner, is way too damn expensive. And the other thing they're trying to push, Obama is trying to push for, and other people, local state assembly or senator, they had that in the Chronicle this morning, trying to get a living wage for everybody, about $10.50 an hour. Of course, they don't think about, when you got a living wage, the cost of coffee and eggs and bread and milk and bacon, soda and oatmeal, instant oatmeal, whatever it is you buy, potato chips, beer, that's all going to go up because someone's got to pay for that living wage, and it's the store owners, be it Walmart or the guy in the corner store down the street or the guy in the corner liquor store. You raise the wages of the employees, they got to wage their prices. I went in the night to the liquor store because I missed out on getting a sandwich at Subway. It was too late. And a bagel dog that Food Max sells for $1.25, they're selling for $3. Well, I guess if you raise the wage to $10.50 an hour, they're going to raise that bagel dog, and it's just a hot dog with bagel around it. They're going to raise that sucker to $5. So this is why employers are so against raising the minimum wage. They got to raise their cost, and if it gets too high, you can't afford to eat. But I'm losing the subject. But I will say one other thing. I went to Food Max the other day. I thought, well, maybe I'll get myself a steak. And when I grew up, my dad and my mother would go to the commissary. They get a whole box of steaks. T-bone steaks or New Yorks for about $20. Now, mind you, this is in the 60s. Went in there and one T-bone steak, $5. If you go to a restaurant like a Denny's or Caro's or somewhere like that, or there's a restaurant here in town that has steak and eggs in the morning, you order the same steak, they'll charge you $10 to $15 for $5 steak. So you want a steak dinner, you'll be paying $25 for that steak dinner. Roots Chris, steak dinner, $53 is a restaurant here in town. I said, well, maybe I'll have a steak one day. This is a change from chicken and turkey burgers. And they want $32 for a steak dinner, which means I could go buy 6 steaks at Food Max for that, throw a couple potatoes in the oven and make my own. Not eating 6 steaks at once. I don't do that. But I could eat one. Anyway, back to Dames. He not only says that we're going to have martial law, but he's still talking about the kill shot. And also said that the coast of United States, from Vancouver all the way to San Diego, well, we're all screwed. Because the radiation plumes in the sea from Fukushima are going to radiate everything. And while he thought all that parts of the area would be safe zones, he said there's nothing safe along the coast. The radiation coming across the ocean from Fukushima is going to turn this whole coast into a dead zone where no one can live. Now, I did mention a story about a week ago about residents of Hawaii being concerned about radiation. But is Dames right? Probably not. I posted some links to sites calling him an outright fraud, and that's what I think he is. So that's where that is. The kill shot. And he's been talking about that kill shot for years. It's never happened, and I don't think it ever is going to happen. So it's time to go to the ever-popular weird news and other news. So here we go. Okay. Not weird, but there is a new show coming out on the History Channel 2. It's called Hangar 1. And Greensburg, Pennsylvania ufologist John Ventre, V-N-T-R-E, is going to be the host of the new show. Friday nights at 10 after Ancient Aliens. And Ventre said he got the Giorgio role, only without the hair for obvious reasons. The guy's bald. So, George Tsoukalos, with the Einstein hair from Ancient Aliens, of course. And I watched that a lot. There's been a lot of shows on the military channel that have been on UFOs and biblical things. And last place I expect to see that is on the military channel. And they're changing their name after 1st of March to the American Heroes channel. So go check that out, but frankly, I don't think you're going to get any hard-hitting stuff from these MUFON investigators on there. So he does do one thing interesting. He drives a black SUV with a MUFON license plate. So the story from a UFO site, and I posted that site link on my discussion board. If you see that in your area, you'll know MUFO Hunters will be out in your area. So, and he has a website, although he hasn't done anything with it since 2012, since the Mayan calendar. I guess he's too busy investigating UFOs. It's johnventre, VNTRE.com. So, enough said about that. Okay, what else is new? Oh, yeah. One of my favorite magazines and sites to go to is Forbes.com. And now there's talk they're looking to sell it for tax purposes to the Chinese. Now, Forbes magazine at one time was valued at $3 billion. And they don't think they're going to get but about $400 million for the magazine. And it was said on a site I read today that there's concerns that it'll become a mouthpiece for the Chinese communists. I hate to see that because they have some great articles in there. And they got one, there's an update on my site on the problem with Apple's Macintosh security things. So I'd really hate to see Forbes turned into a rubber stamp for the communists. Okay, let's see. I always have trouble remembering what this, need to know, with the number 2. Not the number 8 like the numbers lady. They send me email all the time, so I'm reading from these. Needtoknow.com. And, by the way, hello Cassio in Maine, who is also snowing. There's lake effect snow across upstate New York in the west. I don't know how the Birnes are doing. I think they got abducted by Sasquatch. Or maybe those tasty Canadians are abducted to make a Canadian-American hybrid that won't be as tasty when the aliens invade. Because I haven't heard word one from them, and nor have I heard from the Rocky Mountain Ghost Explorers. They both seem to have dropped off the radar. Maybe I'm sending them too many emails. I don't know. I tell people what I think might be interesting, and they're not answering me. And neither is Area 51 Drone from the other board who joined my channel. There are people who are lurking on my board, but I'm seeing 50, 60 page views, but nobody's posting, so I'm not worried about it, just disconcerting. And one confidant of mine, we've talked on the phone, and we've talked on Google Plus. He's talking about things, and I said, well, and he says he listens to a certain podcast, and I said, well, when he asked me if I was going to call it, I said, I'm tempted to call it to ask one question of Aldous Burbank. Where's my free lunch? Because before I left that other side, he offered to meet me in Martinez, not my name art, and buy me lunch. Well, I'll buy him lunch if he shows up, but once I left there, didn't hear word one from that guy. So anyway, back to the thing here. I'm getting a little off topic. Sorry about that. Here's a little story. Although this winter saw bitterly cold temperatures throughout most of the U.S., the Earth as a whole had its 4th warmest January on record. According to NOAA, the drought in California will be the main weather and climate story this year, and that's from USA Today. And he says, what does NOAA stand for? No one actually asked. So, let's see, what's this? Then people wonder why I don't go to movies. Pompeii and 3 Days to Kill with Kevin Costner, who hasn't made a good movie in years. So, no wonder you like On Demand. President Obama and Canadian Stephen Harper have wagered cases of beer on the they had wagered cases of beer on the Canada-U.S. Olympic men and women's hockey matches. Obama said for a very brief period of time, I may not feel as warm as toward Canadians I normally do, at least till these matches are over. And the Need to Know site said Canadians are so damn nice, they'll probably give Obama the beer whether they win or lose. That's probably why they're tastier. They're nicer. They don't have ulcers. They're not grouchy like Americans. This is a weird story because when I read Sports Illustrated, I want to see hot, sweaty New York Yankees in Speedos. Derek Jeter is reconciling with his model girlfriend, Hannah Davis, after a brief split. This was on page 6, Digital Magazine. The move comes after the Yankees captain announced the retirement at the end of the season, his desire to start a family. Davis will soon appear in tiny bikinis in Sports Illustrated swimsuit issues, and page 2 said pinstripe bikinis now be available in the Yankee Stadium for sale, so I hope not. Walmart is having disappointing sales for the fourth quarter. They blame the cold weather and cuts in food stamp benefits for the loss. Walmart gets more than half its sales from groceries, and Need to Know said does shampoo, soap, toothpaste, and bed in a bag count as groceries? I don't think so, but okay, let's see. The Winklevoss twins. Now, I looked their picture, but I never heard of the Winklevoss. Winklevos are creating a new Bitcoin price index called the WinkDex, a blended price index which should be used to price the value of Bitcoins held in the exchange-traded fund for which the twins are seeking the SEC's blessing. And that's from Forbes. And is it us, or does it sound like they're trading Teletubbies? When's the last time you saw one of them guys? Let's see. McDonald's is doing the egg... Oh, the waffle... No, it's Taco Bell. They're doing the waffle taco. That's coming out on March 27th. And they're also going to come out with the A.N. Crunch Wrap. Said breakfast will be available till 11 a.m. An hour later, the McDonald's offers the Egg McMuffin. So watch out for that. The Taco Waffle. When I think waffles, I think tacos. The U.S. Postal Service will feature Apple co-founder Steve Jobs on a commemorative stamp in 2015. The Postal Service is looking to attract younger stamp collectors. Will Chamberlain, Johnny Carson, Janis Joplin, and Jimi Hendrix will also appear on stamps. News about the security flaw. I've already talked about that. The Sochi Olympics are over. Russia won the medal race with 33. U.S. won 9 gold, 7 silvers, and 12 bronzes. And they had hotel problems. Bodie Miller's emotional post-win interview. And Need to Know said all athletes who didn't receive a medal received a free dog as a consolation prize. And there's a video of how the Russian Olympic fifth ring wouldn't function properly on YouTube. So at the closing ceremony, they actually have a video of it. The Russians do have a sense of humor. Okay. Al Roker is having New York Mayor Bill de Blasio on the Today Show. The two men engaged in a Twitter war over the mayor's decision to open New York City schools during the February 13th nor'easter. Roker criticized the mayor's reasoning that forecasts predicted a less severe storm and tweeted, "Long-range de Blasio forecast, one term." So we'll see how that went. Here's a weird story from CNN. Deadly carbon monoxide gas killed the general manager of the legal seafood restaurant on Long Island and made 27 others sick. Investigators blamed a leak in the flue pipe of the restaurant's water heater. The building has been condemned as being unsafe and unfit for human habitation. I wonder if it had been an illegal seafood restaurant, if the guy would still be alive. Okay. World's most wanted drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Shorty Guzman was captured in Mexico and we brought to Brooklyn federal court for trial. And so, and yet one Noory guest said we're running drugs with the CIA. So in Afghanistan, and that's the real reason we're Afghanistan. We've been there longer than Vietnam, 14 years. Let's see. Recent Gothamist headline: more snow expected to hit city today, possibly every day for eternity. The polar vortex is going to return midweek to New York. New York has seen under 5 feet of snow, about the height of a yellow cab. So, they're going to get nailed again. See what this is here. No, that's not it. Okay. Oh, yeah. This from Wikipedia. Dames was one of the first 5 Army students trained by Ingo Swann through Stage 3, which means he never got to Stage 4. And coordinate remote viewing, because Dame's role was intended to be a session monitor and analyst as an aide to Fred Atwater. Rather than a remote viewer, Dames received no further formal remote viewing training. After his assignment to the remote viewing unit at the end of January 86, he was used to run quote-unquote remote viewers as monitor and provide training and practice sessions to viewer personnel. He established a reputation for pushing controlled remote viewing to extremes with target sessions on Atlantis, Mars, UFOs, and aliens. And with this notation, he'd been a guest more than 30 times on Coast to Coast. So maybe Ed Dames wasn't as good as he said he was. And there is a post out there that says that the former... Now, I have not been able to confirm this. There's a post that says, while Dames evidently did work for the CIA as part of its test and remote viewing, the amazing Randy pointed out that the head of the CIA himself publicly declared that Dames found absolutely nothing for the CIA. So... And he also said the remote viewing program, the director said, had been a waste of $20 million. There were no results. Now, I haven't found that quote yet. I'm going to keep looking. But that's interesting. Dames found nothing. I don't know if he found his car in the parking lot. Who knows? Okay, let's see here. Oh, here's this thing from George Noory. We're going to go back in the Wayback Machine, and I'm waiting for... Mr. Peabody and Sherman on March 7th. I'm going to break down and go see that. Ed Dames discussed on January 4th, 1911, a show with Ed Dames, Charles Ostman, and Ken Warren, a Noory show. The cases his agency was working on. Updates on sunspot activity, military events around the world. Excuse me, including a possible terrorist attack on the U.S. in which fuel air weapons are to be employed. Excuse me. 2011, for those of us who live in the U.S., is going to be about economic survival, he predicted. Let's see. Economic survival. And Beyond that, Dames grimly declared that from 2012 to 2013, we're talking physical survival. And he outlined a series of events that his team sees happening the next few years. The first starting in 2011, an implosion of the financial market. And then global economic collapse. Concurrent with that would be a worldwide influenza pandemic, which was about to enter into the beginning stages. Following those two dire events will be the North Koreans will use a nuclear weapon in anger on the Korean Peninsula. They have been developing nuclear land and sea mines. A couple of years from now, the solar kill shot. Now that's in 2011. We're in 2014. Dames is saying kill shot coming soon. 2015 will be the kill shot. Will devastate the entire planet. Press for positive predictions from the future. Let's see. Dame said the only thing he could think of was after the dust clears, after 10 to 20 years from now, another race will be on the planet Earth to rebuild what's left of the planet. And to that show I listened to, he said the only thing that will help us if someone asks, and I guess Ed will be the one to ask, he'll call him up or talk to him in remote viewing. He'll ask the aliens for help to solve the radiation problem and the other problems we've got going. So here's Ed Dames calling the aliens. And here's the alien reply. And, oh, there it goes again. Those aliens are busy. So, I think not only the kill shot is a krill shot, but it's the BS shot, and you know what that means. So this is the guy from Pittsburgh, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.